thank you everyone for coming and joining us for this this month's sort of interview presentation series with an organization in either the Jewish world or the Cincinnati. And in this case, with jmagrisso. Is that right?
Yeah, Magrisso. It's a hard last name. So.
From Jewish Family Services, who is going to be talking to us a little bit about how the food pantry works, or the Vital Support Center. And then we're going to do sort of an interview, and then we'll move on to a question and answer that's open to everyone. So, Jay, thanks for being here with us. Could you?
Pleasure. Thank you for inviting me.
Exciting. And this is also, I should say, this is also in preparation for the food drive that we'll have starting next week. Is that right? The 26th. So that's next week. Yeah. So let's start off with just talking about what is the Jewish Family Service food pantry within the Barbash Vital Support Center.
Yeah, so the Jewish Family Service food pantry, the George and Ann Heldman family food pantry, I should say, is part of our Vital Services department. And what we do through that department is serve individuals in the greater Cincinnati Jewish community, roughly from the ages of 18 to 60. But that we serve, the entire spectrum of life. So, we have infants and families, and we have Holocaust survivors that are in their 90s that we're serving. So we're not, limited to any one age group or type of individual. The food pantry's role in that department is to provide food for families in need. Specifically, we provide it's roughly a week's worth of food traditionally to any Jewish individuals or families in the greater Cincinnati area that are in need. So that's, Kentucky, Cincinnati, and outlying areas. So Montgomery, all those, Claremont County. We don't have any families in Indiana right now, but I would imagine that we would serve them if they came forth. And we also serve our local community through a partnership with the Free Store Food Bank, which is the largest food distributor for pantries in the area. We serve the local community. So we're located on the campus of Hebrew Union College. I don't know how many people are familiar with that, but it's very historic in Clifton. Actually, it's right across from the University of Cincinnati. And the zip codes there, 45219 and 45220, are in our service areas. So we serve any individuals in those areas, regardless of whether they're Jewish or not, if they meet the income requirements that are provided by the federal government. But we serve them food if they're in need, no questions asked. So, and as I was saying, so traditionally we serve each family about a month's worth of food. It's to provide a kind of a supplement to their budget. So a lot of families, are on very, very tight budgets. And while they're able to acquire most of their food, the budgets just don't stretch necessarily to the end of the month. So we're there to help people make it through each month and make sure that everybody in their families are getting fed and able to do other things and thrive. So we also I mentioned our main campus at HUC. We also run 2 satellite locations. Currently, we've reached out in the past 2 years to form a partnership with Congregation Zikron and Eliezer in the Orthodox community. We have a satellite pantry, or resource center, I should say, located in their building in Amberley. And we serve about 25 families through them. It's about 167 people actually that we're serving there, and that space provides a more private and discreet place to serve people that wish to remain have more privacy, basically. So we want to meet them where they're at. So that's been going very well. And recently, we also partnered with the Jewish Discovery Center in Mason to serve underserved families up in northern Cincinnati. So in the area between Dayton and Cincinnati, basically, like Warren County, all the way up to Middletown, actually, I think. And we have another 25 families through them right now, and that's about 80 people. So we do have quite a few places throughout the tri-state, or I should say throughout the region right now, that we're operating in partnership to expand our reach, because unfortunately there's people in need all over the place, and we recognize that having just one location, we try to centrally locate it down in Clifton, but that wasn't necessarily an option for everyone, right? So we're trying to meet people where they're at and make sure they're getting the services that they need. So another thing I wanted to mention too is it's not just the food that we're giving, every month. The food pantry is really a lot more than that. Besides the food we're giving out, just to everyone to make ends meet, we're also providing a lot of Jewish families with special meals, special foods. Our keystone, I would say our marquee event, and I'm sure I actually see quite a few people that have volunteered for it before here, is the Passover delivery project that we do each year, that we do in sponsorship or in partnership with the Rockwood Family Foundation. And that's a very, very important thing that we do. This year alone, I think, let me see here, we served 465 meals, or I should say we distributed 465 meals throughout the tri-state to Jewish individuals in need, that don't necessarily have the resources to afford Passover food. It's more expensive, and we provide that every year to allow people to observe the Passover holiday, which is one of the most important holidays that we celebrate. So that cannot be underestimated how important that is. And we also provide holiday boxes for Thanksgiving, for example. During the high holidays, we do apples and honey and challah, and then Hanukkah, we have festive items, cookies, that kind of thing. So it allows people to have a little bit of brightness in their lives as well. We're not just satisfying a physical hunger, we're also helping satisfy an emotional or spiritual need too. And we also kind of function as a front door for the rest of the services that Jewish Family Service provides. For example, we have a care manager, which is either a licensed social worker or a registered nurse, do our check-in every month for people that come to receive food. So they basically check them in, let us know who we're serving so we can get the food for them. But it also provides a chance for these care managers to check in with the families and see if there's any unmet needs or issues that might, benefit from counseling or some service that we might provide. So if a family's struggling to afford food, there's usually other things that are hard for them to afford as well, like utility bills or rent. And these are things that we can also help with. So it's an important, it's kind of an easy way for people to enter into kind of a relationship or with, our services without having to make a cold call, or, it's a very warm and, welcoming and non-intrusive way to find out if people are, getting what they need to succeed in life. And that's just something that I think we do really well. So along with that, a lot of our people traditionally come to pick up their food, and they shop in person. So we like to call ourselves the Choice Pantry, which basically is, we're set up like a grocery store. So people get to come in and peruse the aisles and pick out the items that they're going to want to enjoy the most. And it also provides a chance for them to socialize with other people. A lot of the families that we're serving, or a lot of individuals, are on the outside of society. Some family, sometimes people hit a rough patch. There's other people with more long-term kind of challenges they're facing. We have a lot of people with mental health challenges that, traditionally kind of in the Jewish community have been, not through any fault of anybody, just more isolated and disconnected just because of their challenges. And, coming into the pantry, into our center, gives them a chance to kind of socialize and become part of the community. So it's another nice aspect that we have. Sure. And Sam, did you have a question that you wanted to?
Yeah,
Sorry.
I'm thinking about, how you're providing all of these social, sort of social services, right? You're allowing people to come in and like literally shop for their food, or, socialize with other people who may be kind of in the same boat as they are, or even, having people go to their homes to do check-ins. But this sounds like something that would happen in a pre-COVID world. Can you talk a little bit about kind of what that looks like in a, in the midst of the COVID pandemic?
Yeah. So great question. And of course, as I just mentioned, having people come in and shop is what we love to do. But of course, as for everyone, I'm sure the past year has been a very challenging time, to say the least. And we've had to adjust the way we do things at our pantry, unfortunately, for better or worse. And one of the things that we had to step back from was having people come in person to do their shopping. And it was very hard at first. So right when everything kind of changed, we had to really adapt quickly to keep the operations going. And it was a very heroic, I can't take credit for it. A lot of our staff members pitched in. We basically put a pause on all of our volunteer efforts, and wouldn't let any of the clientele come to the building for everyone's safety. We didn't want to expose anybody to any potential illness, and we didn't want people to come in and do the same to others. And it was very scary at that time because we didn't realize, how this was spreading. So we had to switch overnight to basically a no contact curbside / delivery kind of service model. And it was a very heroic lift by our staff members. I mentioned that we traditionally provide, 1 week's worth of food, but at the beginning of the pandemic, we started providing 2 weeks worth of food because of, at the time, CDC guidelines, were for people to quarantine for at least 2 weeks. So we wanted to make sure that every family that we were serving had at least 2 weeks worth of food so that they wouldn't have to go out potentially into a dangerous situation and expose them or their families to illness. So at first it was very, very difficult. We pre-packed everything. It was a lot of food. And we kind of eliminated the whole choice aspect of it because there just wasn't any time to have people, get back to us at that moment. But as the pandemic went on, we were able to kind of reincorporate volunteers into our operations. We streamlined things. So we introduced a kind of like a shopping list, grocery list program where we've been sending out shopping lists with it's quite an extensive categorization of everything that we have available in the pantry that they can fill out and send back to us, and we pack according to what they filled out on their forms, and they'll send it back to us. We have 2 volunteers usually come in the days before we distribute food and pack everybody's orders to their specifications. And we also, not only do we do that, so we have curbside pickup, of course. We don't let anybody come in, so we try to maintain as much social distance. It's pretty much no contact to allow people to pick up their food without, exposing themselves to any risk. And we, as part of that, we actually do delivery, and we traditionally have done delivery for, homebound people, seniors, people that couldn't really travel on their own, and people that had medical conditions, they just couldn't really get out of their houses. We've traditionally delivered to those individuals. But because of the pandemic, there was a very larger proportion of the population and of our clientele that were at high risk for getting sick. So we actually expanded our delivery operations. We were doing about 30 deliveries every month to households, but over the past year, we doubled that to about 65 households that we were delivering to. So we wanted to expand not only our in-house operations, but also our delivery operations to make sure that everybody was protected. And it's been very challenging. It's not an easy, it wasn't an easy kind of transformation, but we finally kind of gotten into a groove. And what's exciting is with everybody being vaccinated now, we are exploring the possibility of allowing people to come back and shop by appointment in a very kind of small scale fashion so that people can get back to, choosing what they want and shopping in the grocery store and getting that experience. Trying to think.
Yeah, if I could cut in
changes, yeah,
really quickly, because I do have a question about that I think fits really well into this, kind of talking about pre-COVID and in the midst of COVID, which is, you've talked about like delivering food or, have people coming to shop or getting curbside pickup. But I'm wondering, like, because since we're having this food drive in a week, like, what happens to that food? So so we collect the food at the synagogue, and then how does it get processed? How does it get to the person who needs it?
Great question. It's actually when in these kinds of food drives, and generally it's a very direct line. So when people, at Northern Hills bring in donations, let's say to the temple and drop it off, that food's being collected by you and the staff. That is going to come directly to the pantry. We're going to pick it up volunteers may bring it to us, or alternately, we would come out and pick it up. And that food's going to come into the pantry. We're going to sort it. Of course, a major thing, let me not forget, after I was getting into everything, that we are, almost the exclusive food pantry in the entire tri-state area that provides kosher food year-round. So there's a lot of people that do distribute, a lot of congregations that distribute food on and off that can be kosher to their congregations, but we're the only one that's full-time year-round kosher pantry. So we actually have a kosher and a non-kosher section, so that food that's coming into us, we're going to have people sort it, kosher or non-kosher, check the dates, make sure everything is okay to go out before we distribute it to the families. And we'll put it on the shelves in our pantry, and it's a pretty direct line to the people. That's not the only way we receive donations. Sometimes we, normally throughout the year, we would receive stuff from Free Store Food Bank. So it's another layer of, donations and people that are going to provide to us. But it's really an important way to impact people directly. And I will say that we love donated food because it really gives us a chance to have some variety in the pantry. Unfortunately, due to just the nature of how we purchase food in bulk amounts for everything, it provides us with a lot of the essential nutritional items for our families, but it's not exciting. And that's where donations come in, because a lot of the stuff that we get from food drives through the local congregations is all kinds of interesting things that just make life a little bit brighter for everyone that's receiving help from us. So and it's a really important source too of donations. I will say this past year, it's just been overwhelming, the amount of support we've gotten from the community. We received so many donations from local congregations that we actually had to expand our storeroom into our front lobby of our building, which was not used to store food items, but we just ran out of space in our pantry. So it really has helped provide the amount of food that's necessary to help these families keep moving on and being able to focus on other things in their lives and not worry about where they're going to get their food. So so it's great.
Once again, not to approve an extension of the U.S. debt limit when it comes due at the end of July.
I do like Kai Rizdal. Yeah, so and not only that, another thing, and I'm talking a lot about food here, but one of the most important things that our community members donate are actually personal care items. So that includes things like shampoo, dish soap, body wash, shaving equipment, feminine care products, diapers even. And these are things actually so that our federal government and our state government, when they provide monetary benefits, SNAP benefits to our families, personal care items are not covered at all by those benefits. So people can't have to use their own money to purchase that. And as we know, a lot of those things are very expensive, like diapers. I mean, even for people that have, are relatively, doing well for themselves, but diapers are very expensive items. So it's a lot to ask these families to, try to acquire all these things on their own when they're so expensive. So having those donations not only allows us to provide that, because it's also expensive for us to purchase as well, but it really provides these items that are essential to a person's well-being, hygiene and being, feeling fresh and good about yourself is almost as important as being, nourished. So it's something that, really helps complete the package of things that we're giving these people every month.
I really appreciate you saying this. I actually talked this past Shabbat about the importance of feminine hygiene products.
Yes.
And just the sort of outlandish price that they cost people.
Yeah, and sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was gonna say, and also, those kinds of things, people don't think about it though, but those things have an impact on people's lives. Let's say somebody's going to school and they have a period and they don't have feminine care products or something, it's like they're going to stay home. They're missing out on school. Those kinds of things. People don't necessarily measure that impact when they think about these things, but just stuff like that really does have a deep impact on people's lives. So, but sorry.
Yeah, no, it's a really, really important point and a topic. And I think that leads me really well to the next question that I have, which is, as we're thinking about what we're going to be buying and collecting for the food drive, is there anything in particular that the food pantry at this moment is lacking? Like, is there something that we should be focusing on when we go to the grocery store with
Yeah. So, that list constantly changes on ebb and flow of our inventory, but right now, and of course we'll provide you, I think, with a list of everything. You don't have to like write it down or remember it right now, but off the top of my head, we are really in need, and it might sound odd, but of kosher soup, first of all. A lot of soup in the supermarkets is not hechshered, it's not kosher. And that's always a challenge, and it's more, tends to be more expensive. And so it's something that we're always running a little bit low on. The other things that, we could use right now, snack items. So it's one of our favorite variety categories, but, like crackers, cookies. We try to provide healthier options for people. So like nuts, those kinds of things, dried fruit would definitely be appreciated. Canned salmon, oddly enough, we get a lot of tuna, but quite a few people love salmon. So that's another thing that we could use some more of. And as I mentioned before, we're always in need of more personal care products. So toothpaste, body wash, shampoo, shaving cream, razors are a big one. Feminine care products, of course. And let's see, we also condiments actually. So that's an underrated category, but that actually provides a lot of, spice to people's lives, so to speak. Sorry for the pun. But yeah, so, condiments, all kinds of mustards, ketchup, jam, jelly, honey, those kinds of things would all be greatly appreciated.
Thank you. That is really helpful. And I will send out that list when I get it, so that we know kind of where to direct our buyings. I know that I think this was a while ago. There was a statement from a food pantry. I don't know if it was you or if it was some other thing that said, it's really difficult to get donations because people will just empty out their pantry, or they'll just go to the store and buy what do you call it, like pumpkin puree, things that are not so useful. So having a list to kind of direct where we're going to is helpful.
Yeah, that is definitely something that we appreciate. I mean, we always appreciate, any donations that, people are willing to, provide. It all helps. But it definitely helps to have like a targeted list of what's most in need at that time. So we'll definitely provide that to everyone so that they know exactly kind of what to look for in the stores. And that actually, I did want to talk a little bit about our volunteers, since we are, undertaking a food drive, and how important volunteers are to the pantry. We honestly could not run the pantry the way we're able to without the assistance of, hundreds of volunteers over the entire year. At any one time, it's not that many, of course. And in the pantry itself, we probably have, about 20 to 30 dedicated volunteers throughout the year that come in and help pre-pack the food for us. They help on distribution day, so running the food out the clients' cars, or anybody that walks up, we provide that to them as well. Delivering food to people is very important. There's no way we could make the deliveries, and I do see, I think I saw Edie as one of our Edie Nessner is one of our great delivery volunteers. And there's no way we would be able to provide that many deliveries to people without people coming in and from the community and helping us do that. And quite honestly, and all the community members that just donate to food drives that come in during Passover delivery, that's a huge one for us, 30 to 40 people over the past 2 years. It's even more in normal years, but we limited the amount due to the pandemic for safety reasons. And what else? Just all like the Thanksgiving baskets that I mentioned, all of that is done by, volunteer groups. And it really, the value is incalculable to us. But that's, and that's not the only thing that, we have volunteers for. So I'm really excited. And this is something that I'd love to put out to people now, is this summer, we've had a market garden on the campus of HUC for the last few years. But this summer we're planting a lot of crops, tomatoes, collard greens, squash, bush beans, string beans, and some herbs too. And it's a really great way to, add to what we give to people. And we're going to need volunteers to help water and weed all summer long and harvest. So that's a great opportunity that's coming up. And we also have quite a few programs that we do. Right now, it's a lot of virtual programming. So if there's anybody with any kind of special skills, our, activity center manager, Lainey, would, love to talk with you and see if there's something, that we could provide to our clients, via Zoom, like cooking classes, that kind of thing. So there's a lot of ways to volunteer, and I'll actually post our volunteer managers information. Beth Kotzin, she runs all of our volunteer programs, and I'll post her contact information here at the end so that people can take it down and get in touch with her if they'd like to, explore ways that they can help beyond the food drive.
That's awesome. I think that would be really great, and we can share that on Facebook also.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you. I want to right now kind of open it up to everyone and see if there are any questions or comments about really anything that has to do with JFS, whether it's our upcoming food drive or if it's something more operational within the organization itself.
Okay. Hello. I'm a Northern Hills, but I'm also at Rockhorn. So I know what you're talking about. We're doing things with Rockhorn throughout the years. But I was talking to Rabbi Shapra maybe about having our youth kind of like involved with this too, or delivering the food, or and I'm hearing what you're saying about the restrictions and opening it to limited people now. How do you see us helping you guys the most? Like if we want to come with a group of, let's say, 5 teenagers.
Yeah.
What
there's
what
definitely.
can we do?
There's definitely.
And I'm going to turn it off because I heard mine make a big buzz.
No worries.
So it's not making a buzz right now?
No, it's stopped now.
Okay. I was told that I'm making a lot of buzz all the time. So.
Oh, that started, but
okay, fine.
No worries. Yeah, so that's a great question, and we definitely have more opportunities for a small group right now. Now, in the past, and it's something that I love to do, and I love watching our previous pantry manager, Sandy, have these educational groups for the kids from local schools and congregations, on the weekends or during the week. We've had Rockwern a ton of times. All different grades come in and have like an educational program. Unfortunately, of course, right now we can't do that with a large group of people. But for example, for like a smaller group, you can definitely come in. I know from my end, and volunteer in the pantry right now, like 4 or 5 people, you could help sort and stock our shelves. We do a pickup. I do a pickup each month from the Free Store Food Bank, where we need, we pick up a huge amount of food for the entire month. And we usually need a couple volunteers for that. There's small things like that. I'm outdoors, so definitely with the gardening, and I think that's a great activity for kids too during the summer. That's something that would be we would be comfortable having 5 or 6 people in the garden, doing things, tending to it, making sure everything's weeded, and harvesting. So that's that I think that would definitely be a great activity for kids because it's hands-on. They're doing things that'll wear them out. It's outside. It's fun. They get to talk to each other. Hopefully, as the year wears on here and more people are vaccinated and it becomes safer, we can kind of expand what we're offering to the community in terms of volunteers or education programs. And that's something that we'll keep you posted on for sure. Here, let me, I'm going to share Beth's information here right now with you. Of course, I have just this, you can see the PowerPoint screen too, but clearly I'm not as sophisticated with Zoom as I'd like to be. But as you can see here, has everybody seen that? I want to make sure.
Looks good.
Okay. That's Beth's information there, and she can actually give you some more details about the current volunteer opportunities that we have. And I would suggest, even so, like for delivering food, to, we have a lot of homebound seniors. As I said, there's quite a few Holocaust survivors that we do delivery to, food wise. Right now it's not as fulfilling because it's hard to, normally our volunteers might like stick around and talk with the families and, kind of just hang out with them. But unfortunately right now, because of, health safety concerns, we're just dropping off the food. But I think that would be a good activity for like a teenager as well, and it's a way to, it's a mitzvah, it's a way to give back to, our elders in our community. So I think that would be a good opportunity for them. And yeah, so she can, and she'll be happy to talk with you and let you know what else is available at this time. So
That's good. Yeah.
Is there anyone? Are there any other? Lois, I see you have.
Yeah. I have a question. If
Yeah.
you're giving a monetary donation, is there a way to designate it to the food pantry instead of to Jewish Family Service in general?
Yes. So we do accept monetary donations, and you would address that to Jewish Family Service, not necessarily the food pantry directly. For example, if you're writing a check, but for you would put in the memo space for food pantry, or you could also write a small note with it to send in, specifying that you would like the funds to be designated for use in the pantry. Of course, if it's a cash donation, you can write a note that this is to be used for pantry operations. So yeah, so it's we're flexible that way. Not quite sure where we're at right now with online donations. I know we do take them, for example, for Passover. I'm not quite sure how that works at the moment for specific programs within Jewish Family Service, though. But definitely the check or cash options would be available. And then, of course, that goes through the finance department, and they will designate the funds as appropriate. So thank you for asking.
And I assume there's just one tax ID number for everything.
Yeah. So, and with the donation, of course, you would receive a letter back, with our tax ID and, thank you as well, of course.
Thank you.
So, yeah, thank you. Any other questions or anything you wanted to know in particular?
So it looks like in the chat, Linda just put the link to donate where you can.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Your online designation. And I can send that out also later in the week.
Yeah.
Or next. Yeah. Okay. So it looks like we have all of our questions answered. Jay, thank you so much for being with us today and sharing about the food pantry.
Yeah, my pleasure.
How we as the Northern Hills community can help both as volunteers and as, collecting food, being part of the system of giving.
Mm-hmm.
So, thank you.
Yeah. And please, I strongly encourage anybody who does want to become more involved to get in touch with Beth, because it's so much more than just, the pantry too. And I think it's a really great, opportunity for people to, get more involved in the community. And we really appreciate, all the support that everyone's given us and continues to give us. And we look forward to it. And one last note, we're actually undergoing a revamp or remodeling of our pantry this summer. Well, actually starting this month. We're adding a lot more storage space, and we're kind of revamping our floor to improve the client experience, the family experience when they come in to shop, and really add more value to what we're providing to everyone. And I'm excited for everybody in the community to get a chance to see it once it's done. So I think I would love to, have you host you guys down at the pantry, in the coming months, hopefully, and let you guys check out everything and see how we do things. And it was great talking to you. Thank you for the opportunity.
Absolutely. Thank you.